Alright, what's going on YouTube? This is KS Reefing here. Today we're going to talk real quick about my innovative marine 30-gallon long. Kind of what my plans are for this tank. So just to give you kind of a quick background here, I had this tank set up and actually I had it doing really well and it was thriving, and I ended up having a really bad flatworm problem. I always kind of was the guy that thought, you know what, I'm going to not worry about dipping and quarantining my corals, and what ended up happening was I ended up getting a batch of corals. I'm not really sure from what vendor. It was a week where I probably did about 4 live sales and ended up getting a really bad outbreak of flatworms. So what I've had to do is break the tank down. I lost a lot of coral. I mean, this thing was packed with coral frags, and it really sucked when I had to end up taking it all out and starting over from scratch. So it knocked me down for a little bit. I thought about even getting out of the game. I even started selling off some stuff, and then I kind of had a change of heart and decided that I wanted to kind of stick with it. I recently got a buddy who's now getting ready to start up a tank, so he's kind of got me rejuvenated and wanting to get back at it again. So we'll be starting from the beginning. My goal is to kind of help any new people out there to maybe not make the same mistakes that I did, because they were completely 100% preventable, and hopefully kind of start to steer some people in the right way. Also, I was going to do a video. It's my first video on YouTube. There's not a lot of tanks out there for 30 innovative marine 30 longs, and I think they're a really cool tank just because of the 36-inch dimension. So it kind of gives that nice long sleek viewing view for you when you're looking at the tank. So I've kind of figured this might help somebody who's possibly thinking about buying this tank, and maybe kind of hopefully steering them in the right way. So without further ado, we'll kind of look here. I just got done recently doing a vinegar bath on the aquarium. I just need to do a little bit of drying and cleaning up here of some water spots. I had taken it out and just hosed it all down after clearing out all the vinegar. So right here is a stand. Right here is a homemade stand I ended up building with my future father-in-law, and turned out really great. I had originally planned to do a 40 breeder with a 20-gallon sump. I made the stand a little bit bigger, so I had a little bit more room inside the stand for the sump and for the equipment. So I need to clear that out, and obviously all these cords and stuff are going to be cleaned up here in a little bit. You'll see that in a future video. But I really built this stand to give myself quite a bit of room inside, which would have worked out really well, but it's actually going to work out great for this tank, because one of the things I had an issue with this earlier was I had a really small stand, the aquatic life stand that fit this, that I had to kind of custom make the top just to fit the back part of the refugium for the all-in-one part, if that makes any sense. So one of the issues that I ran into was I had a lot of stuff outside the stand, and that really drove me nuts. Now I've got this stand set up in my basement, and it's kind of an unfinished basement. We've moved in recently, and so I've still got stuff that I'm gonna have to pick up around it. But this is kind of now giving me an opportunity where I'm actually not so worried about the outside of the stand, because it is not in the main part of the house. But we'll kind of clean that up, and we'll have a nice space underneath the stand to kind of keep everything confined. So kind of moving on from that, you'll see at the top I had a canopy kind of added there. That was originally, it's black, it's separate from the stand. Originally was going to attach that to the aquatic life stand, but I ended up not going with it. I'm not really 100% sure why I didn't, because if you will look inside, I've actually got T5s mounted in here. I'm going to pick up a few reflectors and go ahead and get those added in. That way I will get even stronger lighting from those T5 retrofits. I've always wanted to do the T5 retrofitting just because I've had LEDs for a while now, and I just really think that the T5 is going to give my corals and everything in the tank a nice supplementation with eliminating shadows inside the aquarium. So quickly, looking down the side here again, remember I'm going to kind of clean this up with watermarks and things like that, some final scrubbing. You can kind of see here the only downfall to this aquarium is you can tell it is very, very skinny. So aquascaping is kind of a bit of a challenge. So make sure when you're picking out your rock that you pick smaller pieces. You don't want big bulky pieces because this tank is not very wide. So kind of keep that in mind, but it does look really, really good when you get some small pieces of rock and kind of build up from there. Alright, so just real quick before I sign off for here for my first video, I'll kind of let you know what's coming up. So right now I had just gotten this all hooked up. I wanted to make sure my retrofit kit still was working with no issues. I've got a Innovative Marine desktop skimmer, or I'm sorry, it's actually mid-size ghost skimmer. I've got a reactor that I'm going to use for carbon, and that's the Innovative Marine as well. I have and that's the desktop size. I also have a mid-size reactor as well that I use for GFO, but for some reason the pump went out on it, so I need to contact the Innovative Marine to get one of those Nano 8 pumps from them to get that going. I'm not so worried about it right at this moment, but we'll go ahead and I'll get that ordered here pretty soon. And then lastly, I have a heater. I use a 100-watt heater in here, and I have a Reef Keeper Light Plus. So it's got the 2 power bars, and I've even got the ATO included on that as well. So I've got the temp probe and the pH probe, which I will end up mounting back here in the return chamber. So that is all to come. I got some cord management to do. I'm probably going to run over to the store here pretty soon to kind of pick up some zip ties, because I do like to end up zip tying those cords right there behind the canopy, so no cords will be showing. But that's kind of my introduction video. There's going to be more to come. Real quick, I know maybe a few questions, but I am going to run, you'll see 2 blue pluses, and then you see the purple plus there in the front, and then a coral plus in the back. So 4 total bulbs, 39 watts, again 36-inch tank, or 36-inch tank. Okay. All right. So I look forward to progressing a little bit further on this tank and hopefully get the cycling process going. Please feel free if you guys have any questions, comments, or even recommendations for you experienced people out there. You know, let me know what you guys think, and hopefully we're going to document this the whole way through. So I will talk to you guys later.